Hello, you weirdos. Jim here, and I have been a big fan of Chip Zdarsky's Daredevil run, but I have to admit, I liked it a whole lot more before Devil's Reign. Now, before you jump to any conclusions, it has nothing to do with Elektra being Daredevil, nothing like that. It's just that once the series started up again with a new number one, it just wasn't hitting with me as much as it had been. It got a bit heavy-handed. It got a little bit soapboxy as well. Plus, I blame Chip Zdarsky for making me read that awful Jason Aaron Punisher book. But this is it. The big finale to a kick-ass run. Did it end well? Well, let's find out.
You are all weirdos.
Weird science is the revolution. Weird science is the revolution.
Daredevil number 14 is written by Chip Zdarsky with art by Marco Checchetto. And I should actually say really great art by Marco Checchetto. Looks great. This finale takes place 6 months after the last issue, and while time has passed, everyone still has Matt Murdock on their minds. After seeing that Mindy Libras and her daughter Belle are doing better, we head up to the law offices of Nelson and North. Yep, Foggy and Cole have partnered up and are busy helping people in need. At first, I didn't know what to think of this. I love Foggy. I think everybody listening has to love Foggy. And I do like Cole, but having that Foggy and Cole seeing that placard, it just rubbed me the wrong way at first. But then thinking about it, I kind of don't mind it as we go forward. But it's already obvious at this point that what we're going to do in this issue is make the rounds to see the people closest to Matt or the people who had been affected by Daredevil in this run. So, of course, we get Elektra next. She's still out there being Daredevil, and I love her inner monologue here as she takes down some mooks. And yeah, it is a bit of the same. I'm going to be Matt's type of Daredevil, even though it goes against everything I used to do type of deal. But after what has happened, after all the crap that has happened, it does feel a bit more sincere and genuine here. Probably the most sincere and genuine I think it's been in the entire run. Now, after she takes down these thugs, she heads off to confront Butch, Kingpin's son, who has decided to take his father's last name because being a Fisk, it's kind of good for business. Now, it's weird. I think this scene is really good, except it has my least favorite part in it. It's kind of a weird roller coaster ride of emotions here. It's a big scene. It sets almost the moral of the story of this issue, if you will. And I love that Elektra goes to Butch to tell him, you don't have to be your father. You can break this cycle. You could be a new person. You could be your own person. You could be your best person. And that's great because it's coming from Elektra, who has been doing just that. And also, if you remember, a huge part of this run was Kingpin Wilson Fisk, Butch's father, doing that as well. At one point, Matt even asking him if he liked this life and what is his dream life, things like that. It really does kind of put all that together to just make you actually at this point hope that Butch could break that cycle. And the thing is, he kind of is. He kind of is like, I'm going to be a bad guy, but a better bad guy. I'm not going to be like horrible like my father was, but I'm still going to use his name because of what that means. I'm still going to do things outside the law. And he even says, just like you're doing there, Daredevil. But he does seem a little bit better, and we'll have to see what becomes of Butch. But I like also here that you're setting up that back and forth with Elektra and Butch, kind of like a separate version of Fisk and Murdoch. So I really like the way it plays out. Now, what didn't I like about the scene? I didn't like the heavy hand in this, that it gets to where Elektra then starts walking around and Butch has a bunch of his dad's art and, stuff and antiques out on display, pretty much to let everybody know, look, remember, I'm Kingpin's son kind of deal. And she goes around and destroys all this art. And it's so heavy-handed. And then it ends with the eye-rolling moment when she gets to a painting of Christ and she can't deface it. I'm like, yeah, that was a little too much. Still like the overall bits of the scene. Just that was a little bit too heavy-handed. But again, I talked about at the beginning, Zdarsky at points does get a bit heavy-handed with things, but overall I do like his writing. Things do pick up a bit then when Foggy meets up with Reed Richards to talk about Matt. He gives him the chessboard that him and Matt had played on, all that sort of thing. And it's a cool scene to show that Matt's hero friends have forgiven him for what he did as the head of the Fist. But it's something that we'll have to wait and see how this plays out, because in my mind, it's very easy to forgive someone when you think they are dead. That's a very easy thing, but still, it is a nice scene and gives a bit of depth to Reed here, which I actually didn't expect in this issue, so I give some kudos and props to Zdarsky for that. Now, we continue by seeing more people that were inspired and lives were changed by Daredevil to get then to the biggest scene of the book. After thinking that she's seen Matt, Elektra follows this guy to the church that he goes into, and lo and behold, it looks like it is Matt, that Matt has returned, not remembering anything about being Daredevil or his past life, but he has returned and is living as a priest. There's no explanation to how and why Matt has been, quote unquote, born again. Get it? But Zdarsky gives fans a great scene full of pretty much bottled up emotions. And it's funny, this is, again, kind of a subtler scene, which I love. I end up where I like this sort of thing, because in this you have Elektra and Matt talking, and the big parts are what they're not saying. The big part is that Elektra is listening and kind of goes with her own advice by the end and realizes, oh my God, like, this is Matt. He broke the cycle. He's living his life as a new man. And it seems like a more peaceful and happy life. And while you know that Elektra, it's just killing her to see the man that she loves not remembering her. He does say that, do I know you? I kind of think I remember you from somewhere, that sort of thing. But she doesn't push it. And it's such a good scene. And again, how much this is killing Elektra to see it, but also where you get that she really does love him, so she's going to allow him to be this happier, peaceful guy that is living as a priest, which could be kind of that dream deal for him. So with all that, who knows how long this will last? Well, if the last bunch of pages are any indication, I don't think it's lasting that long. As Matt leaves the church, Elektra leaves. Then Matt leaves the church. He hears a couple thugs beating down a guy. And that's when the Daredevil senses kick in. As the narration echoes Elektra's advice to Butch about being a new man, about breaking the cycle, we see that no matter what kind of salvation Matt was given after his sacrifice to save the ones he loved, Daredevil never will be allowed to truly rest. And it is a really, really good book, a really good, finale in my mind. And it does give you questions by the end. Again, we're going to have to wait to see if we ever get any real solid answers. But in my mind, when Matt ended up going into hell, and sacrificed himself for his loved ones, he allowed his loved ones to escape as he fought the beast and all that. I think that you can, maybe guess in your mind that God actually did give him the salvation that he wanted. You get that born again type of deal, but we'll see. This might not be that. It might be something more nefarious. It might be something crazy. But in my mind, for just a little bit, Matt was actually given the salvation that he deserved for everything that he has done. He was allowed to come back to life in a better, more peaceful, happy way. But again, you can take the Daredevil out of the man, but the man, however you would say it, I think that there is no way, even as you think of it, with a new run starting by Saladin Ahmed next month, and it looks like it's going to be both Matt and Elektra as Daredevil in that from the preview stuff, you're not going to put Matt off the board for that long. But it's nice. And it's nice, I think, for fans. I've seen a lot of fans comment on this, that they would actually prefer if maybe this was the ending. Matt actually gets to live out his life as a priest and has a happy, peaceful life. But that's not what happens with these heroes, especially Daredevil. So we'll see how that plays out. But it is a great finale to Zdarsky's run. While a lot of it might be putting the toys back in the toy box for Saladin Ahmed, to start his new Daredevil book next month. It stayed true to Zdarsky's run, but also the character of Matt Murdock in general. The art, I said, by Marco Caccetto, outstanding. It was great. So I'm going to give Daredevil number 14 a 9.5 out of 10. And I have seen some people saying they're not even going to bother with Saladin Ahmed's book. They're not even going to give it a try. And some of them are saying this is such a great ending that, I'm never going to read another Daredevil book again, which I don't know. That seems kind of silly. But others are just saying, Saladin Ahmed, he's a hack. It's not going to be as good as the Zdarsky run. Oh, my God. I'm going to give it a try. I always like to give everybody a try. I know that with this book and the Daredevil deal, it's going to be some big shoes to fill. But I'm going to give Ahmed a couple issues at least to show me what he's got. And right now I'm hoping that it's good in his way. I hope that it's one of those things that he gets to do his own run and it's good as a Saladin Ahmed Daredevil book. But we'll see. We'll see. I'll be reading and reviewing them, so I'll tell you what I think as they come out. But I'd love to hear what everybody else thought of this issue. What if they are looking forward to Saladin Ahmed's run? Didn't they? Some people didn't like the Zdarsky run as much as others. So I'd like to hear from everybody and just let me know in the comments. As always, I try to answer every single one of them, but that's that. A little longer review than I've been doing recently, so that shows you how much I did like the book, and I tried to keep the jokes down to a minimum. I know sometimes I get a little too jokey, and then people don't take it seriously. This is serious, Jim, giving a review now. See, this is the serious pinkies up fancy Jim. I'm trying to get on the back of trades and things when I do this, but we'll see. We'll see how it is, but I'll probably be back joking it up for the next one. So I'll talk to you all later.
You are all weirdos.
Weird science is the revolution. Weird science is the revolution.